You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rudrance for our Black and White Sports. We're going to talk about Charles Barkley because, am I just wrong here? Or has Charles joined the progressive leftist parade? That's just where I'm at with Charles. Look, Charles was my all-time favorite NBA player. I've said before, hey, I met Charles on my senior trip in high school. But all of that aside, lately Charles has been saying some really head-scratching things. For the longest time, Charles did not just roll with the standard quota leftist progressive ideals. But now, I guess we can file Charles Barkley under the umbrella of, if you're black, you should just be given shit. I mean, I'm pretty sure I think that's where Charles Barkley is at. I mean, best qualified, Charles, whether we're talking about Supreme Court, whether we're talking about the NFL, most qualified, best candidates for the job should always get the job regardless of color. I cannot believe Charles is coming out with this crap, making these jokes. But he is, and that's where we're at. It's a damn shame, but they've got the Charles. Charles Barkley mocks the NFL's lack of coaching diversity. We got a better chance of getting a black woman on the Supreme Court. And before we get too far with this, we can just go ahead and play this right here, right now.
I say you're shaking your head. Did you know that we got a better chance of getting a black woman on the Supreme Court than we do having a black NFL head coach right now?
Sitting on that line, have you not? You've been waiting and waiting and waiting.
You got to give it the boom. You got to give it the boom. We got it. Never thought you kidding. Never thought you'd hear that, right? Hey, Brian.
It's a debate. Hey, I'm on a line.
Okay, so we're making jokes now. Thursday night on TNT's Inside the NBA, Charles Barkley roasted the NFL for its glaring lack of diversity among the league's head coaches. That's this site's way of putting it, not mine. Currently, the NFL has just one black head coach with only 3 openings left to fill among the league's 32 teams. The lack of diversity was further highlighted this week when former Miami Dolphins coach Brian Flores hit the NFL with a lawsuit alleging racial discrimination inside its hiring process. And if you go through the allegations, actually go through the lawsuit, none of it seems to be tied to race whatsoever. But, okay, sure. Quote, never in my wildest dreams, Barkley began to tell his co-hosts Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, and Ernie Johnson, did you know that we got a better chance of getting a black woman on the Supreme Court than we do having a black NFL head coach right now? Quote, I never thought I'd say that, Barkley continued. We're going to have a black Supreme Court before we have a black NFL coach. What a great country we live in. Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer recently announced his intention to retire at the end of the term. And, of course, as we know, President Joe Biden followed the news by stating he will nominate the first black woman to the United States Supreme Court. Notice that he said black woman. At no point did he put an emphasis on making sure he got the right person, regardless of color, for the position, most qualified. Look, all this goes for the same regardless of what career path you have chosen. Like, in other words, personally speaking, if I was black and somebody was just going to hand me a position to quote-unquote check off some quota boxes, I'd be mad as hell if they didn't view me as the actual legitimate worthy candidate to get the job, the best person for the job. Truly, you want to get handed something over your skin color? You got to be kidding me. That seems racist and insulting. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Meanwhile, the NFL is struggling to prove it doesn't have a diversity problem while boasting just one black head coach. The lawsuit against the NFL includes text from Patriots head coach Bill Belichick to Flores congratulating him on getting hired by the Giants before he even interviewed for the opening. During the awkward exchange, it became clear that Belichick mixed up his Brians, intending to text Brian Daboll, who the Giants eventually hired. Barkley did go on to say, quote, "You got to have a black Brian and a white Brian, I guess, in your phone." Barkley suggested as a way for Belichick to avoid texting the wrong person in the future. Barkley ripped the NBA for recycling white head coaches, and while also claiming teams essentially hire black head coaches just to fire them. That makes no sense, Charles Barkley. The NBA and NFL has been criticized at times for putting black head coaches on teams with gutted rosters when they're expected to fail. Currently, 14 of the NBA's 30 teams employ black head coaches in the NBA, a stark difference from Mike Tomlin being the NFL's only black head coach. Yeah, but what they're leaving out is the fact that Jim Caldwell has got multiple head coaching jobs, and he's in this hiring cycle as being interviewed right now. And I think most people, in all honesty, Brian Flores might have gotten that Texans job had he not filed the lawsuit. So, I think what happened here is there was a convenience, a lot of firings, and everybody looked up and it was like, oh, there just happens to be one black coach right now. Brian Flores saw an opportunity to create and mold himself into Colin Kaepernick Part 2, and he took it because of that. And I'm still not sure he wouldn't have got the Saints job either. And I just don't see a team taking a chance on him. I've said over and over again, I've looked at everything in his lawsuit, and I just can't see why you would tie race to anything he's really talked about there. By the way, the Giants have come out with an interesting timeline marking everything in their interview process, and it seems to debunk some of these theories that Brian Flores has come out with. Look, I think it's happenstance that the NFL only has one black head coach right now, okay? But again, these owners own the teams. They should be able to hire who they want. And there are going to be other black candidates that come along where they are actually the most qualified, and they're going to get an NFL coaching job. Again, Steve Wilkes, Vance Joseph, Dennis Green, Jim Caldwell, Tony Dungy, Mike Tomlin, Anthony Lynn. I mean, the list just goes on and on. I just don't see how there's some kind of behind-the-scenes ploy by NFL owners to keep black coaches out. I just don't believe that's happening. I don't. I think if somebody, honest to God, was sitting in front of them and they thought it was the best candidate or it fit their particular team, they would hire them, okay? Again, you can draw clear lines as to why the Giants hired Brian Daboll instead of Brian Flores. I get it. It's Daniel Jones. It's his development. Flores is a defensive coach. Daboll is a offensive coach. By the way, great hire with Mike Kafka at offensive coordinator. I mean, great hire by the Giants. So again, you see the relation. You see how that was molded for the Giants. So tell me what you think. I'm really disappointed with Charles Barkley these days. A lot of leftist narratives coming out of Charles involving vaccines, involving the jab, taking shots that, look, I've always appreciated Charles' honesty, okay? And if he truly feels that way, great, I guess. But I just thought Charles was more of a open-minded free thinker than the follow the status mainstream quo, which is kind of where Charles has just fell into now. He's just like everybody else. That's sad to say, but he's just a standard operating procedure. Let me follow Joe Biden around. Let me just follow him around. Come on, stop it, Charles. Snap out of it. Tell me what you think, black and white sports fans. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.